animal diversity that deals with diverse kind of animals, and these animals are grouped as non-chordates and chordates. But among non-chordates, there is a phylum called Platyhelminths. That phylum comprises a large number of animals which are mainly parasitic in nature. Very few species are there which are free living or they live a commensal life. So Platyhelminthes is a phylum about which I am going to talk through this video. See, these are three well-known representatives of phylum Platyhelminthes. This first one is a planarian animal. This one is free living animal. Its body is long, and although it is not much clear in this figure, but these animals are flat. All the animals which belong to this phylum, they have flat body. That is why the name of this phylum is given as platy. Platy means flat, and all these animals are actually helminths, including nematodes. So platyhelminths, that comprises only those animals which are having flat body. And the first one, planarian, this one whose genus is actually Dujacia. This has in the anterior side eye spots distinctly seen, and then you can see its mouth, which is in the middle portion of its body that leads into pharynx. So uh, you can see its digestive structure here also bifurcated into two portions. The other one is liver fluke, that is fasciola, and this also has a distinct anterior and posterior end. Here at the anterior portion, its mouth will be located, and acetabulum, which helps in adhesion with the host body. So it is parasitic in nature, and it is found in the liver and bile ducts of several animals which mainly graze on grasses like sheep and goat. They are parasitized by this animal. The third one is tapeworm, and that is Taenia solium, which is well-known endoparasite, and it is found in the intestine of man. It is quite dangerous. Those people who feed on uncooked pork, they may suffer from the infection of uh, this parasite. So these are three representatives, and in the diagram you can see the body of the third one, that is tapeworm. It is segmented. So many segments are there, and in these two the segmentation is absent at all. But you will find that the animals of platyhelminths, they are more advanced than cnidarians, because cnidarians are diploblastic and these animals are triploblastic. They have several other features which show advancement against the or advancement in comparison to the cnidarians or ctenophores. So let us see the important or general characteristics of animals of this phylum. Some animals of this phylum are free living. Very few are there which are free living. Some may be commensal, that is, they live with others without harming them, and they are benefited by the presence of the other one. So commensal life is also lived by some of the animals of this phylum. Majority of them are parasitic. They are bilaterally symmetrical, and as I told, they have flat body, and the flattened body is because the dorsal and ventral portions are actually flat. So these two surfaces, dorsal and ventral surfaces, are distinctly seen in these animals. So they are leaf-like or flat structures. Majority of them are elongated, but some may be even quite small or oval in shape. Then, as I just mentioned, that they are more advanced than cnidarians or ctenophores, so they are triploblastic, that is, three germ layers, ectoderm, endoderm, and mesoderm actually give rise to the entire body structure of these animals. They have organ system grade of body organization, that is, they have organs which perform specific functions like distinct digestive system may be present in certain forms. They have very well developed reproductive system, and the excretory system may be in the form of nephridia, protonephridia, or flame cells. So such kind of advancement one can see in case of helminthes, platyhelminthes animals. They are acoelomate animals. That is, coelomic cavity is totally absent in all the animals of this particular phylum. They are small to moderate in size, means some forms of animals are quite small. They could not be seen by naked eye. They are just few millimeter in their size, while others could be several meters in size, like Taenia solium or tapeworm itself could be quite large in size and accommodates in major portion of the intestine. They have varying means they could be microscopic as well as they could be much elongated, and then body will be unsegmented except the animals of class Cestoda, which includes tapeworm. So uh, tapeworms, they may have segmented body. Rest of the animals, they are actually unsegmented. Majority forms are white in color. So uh, you will find that the forms which are free living are parasites, their color will be white, and free living forms are gray, brown, black also. They could be brilliantly colored, and sometimes on the basis of the material on which they feed, that actually provides color to the animal. So you can find distinct anterior end in the body, and that could be considered as head portion. Mouth and genital pores on the ventral surface are present, and in case of turbularians, such structures are well distinct. Turbularians means the free living forms, or which could be commensal also, like planarians or Dugesia, but less marked in cystodes and trematodes. These cystodes like tapeworms, trematodes like flukes, so they have less, marked mouth and genital pores present. Then the parasitic forms have adhesive structures because such forms will have to get connected with the tissue or with the structure where they are actually adapted to live. So they have adhesive structures in the form of hooks, spines, and suckers. So with the help of these structures, they get firmly attached with the host body, and their body gets covered with ciliated epidermis or cuticle, which is quite resistant to the secretions of the host, because majority of these animals, they are endoparasites, so they have to live in very adverse conditions where the secretions of host may be dangerous to these animals. So they have a very resistant cuticle, which is not affected by the adverse, environmental conditions of the host uh, organs or tissues. Their body is soft. Body will be soft because they don't have exo and endoskeleton present in their body, and the hard part consists of cuticle, spines, thorns, hooks, or teeth, because these are the structures with which they get attached with the host body, and that is why the hard structures could be present in the peripheral portion or in certain portions which help them in adhesion. Then space between various organs uh, filled with special mesodermal tissues. As I said, it is the endoderm, mesoderm, and ectoderm that forms the entire body, and it is mesoderm that forms mesenchyme and parenchyma, uh, and fills the entire space in the body. Then digestive system is branched, or it may be incomplete, or it may be totally absent, like in a case of tapeworm, the digestive system is totally absent, and the nutrients actually reach into the parasite or into the animal through diffusion process. Respiratory and circulatory systems are absent in them, we know that majority are actually means those free living forms. They can have a direct exchange of gases from the surrounding water. Circulatory system is not found in them. The nutrients and other contents move from one area to the other through diffusion. And in parasitic forms also same thing happens, means in endoparasites there is actually lack of oxygen in the surrounding, so they are adapted for anaerobic mode of respiration. Excretory system absent, and it may be in the form of lateral canal or a single or a pair of protonephridia with flame cells. So this system is also not well developed. Nervous system is primitive type in case of platyhelminthes animals. It consists of a pair of ganglia or brain and one or three pairs of longitudinal nerve cords connected by transverse nerves. There are transverse nerves which connect the either side of nerve cord. And then since organs are very simple, they are greatly reduced in parasitic forms, and chemo and tango receptors commonly present in the form of ciliated pits and groups. These animals are mainly monoecious, means hermaphrodite, since a single parasite, if present in the host body, is capable to reproduce because it possesses male as well as female reproductive structures. So majority of forms are actually monoecious, and reproductive system is highly developed. They are capable to produce large amount of gametes, so that the survival of the individuals which are actually formed by the fusion of such gametes could be ensured. Asexual reproduction that occurs by fission in many freshwater turbellarians, and eggs are devoid of yolk in many forms of the parasitic types. They are produced separately in the yolk or white line glands. Fertilization is internal, and cross-fertilization occurs in trematodes. See, trematodes, they could be available in the vicinity to each other, so there may be fertilization between them. And although they are hermaphrodites, so in the absence of any partner, there may be self-fertilization. And self-fertilization is the rule in case of tapeworms, because they have a number of segments, and each segment is actually monoecious that possesses both reproductive structures. So there may be fertilization of gametes in the same segment or between the segments. Life cycle may be complicated, involving one or more hosts. So they could be monogenic, or they could be digenetic in form. That is, they may have a single host as for survival, or maybe more than one host. It means intermediate hosts may be there for larval development, and the larval forms are in the form of Miracidium, Sporocyst, Radia, Cercaria, and Cysticercus or bladder worm. So we find mainly in case of flukes, these are the larval stages like Miracidium, Sporocyst, Radia, Cercaria, and Metacercaria. And then Cysticercus or bladder worm is the larval form in case of tapeworm. So these are the developmental stages. Then we can classify this phylum Platyhelminthes into three classes, and the first one is class Turbellaria. The animals of this class, they are mostly free living. Some may be ecto or endocommensal, or they may be parasitic, and their body will be totally unsegmented and covered with ciliated cellular or syncytial epidermis. Mouth will be ventral in location, and that leads into muscular pharynx, which could be seen in this diagram. Here is the mouth opening, and this is pharynx, and that leads into the digestive tract. Then adhesive organs or suckers are present in them, those forms which are actually parasitic in nature. Then excretory system consists of flame cells, and the reproductive system will be better developed in them. They have sexual as well as asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction occurs by regeneration, and the life cycle forms are very simple. Its example is Dujaceae, which was earlier known as Planaria, and so so many animals come under this class. The second one is Trematoda, which mainly includes the flukes. So ecto and endoparasites, as I told in the beginning, the trematodes and cestodes are mainly parasitic forms. They could be ecto or endoparasites. They are mainly known as flukes. Body will be unsegmented and dorsoventrally flattened, looking as leaf. Suckers uh, and sometimes hooks are present, because with the help of such structures they can have their firm attachment with the host tissue. Digestive tract incomplete, consists of the anterior mouth, simple pharynx, and two forked or branched intestine. Anal opening will be totally absent. Excretory system in the form of flame cells. These animals are mainly hermaphrodite, that is monoecious. They have both male as well as female reproductive structures well developed in them, and the development will be direct in case of ectoparasites, but indirect in case of endoparasites. And as I said, the larval stages could be sporocyst, could be radia, cercaria, so metacercaria. Means these are the larval stages present in case of Fasciola hepatica. And the examples are Fasciola, it is a genus which includes a number of species. Then Cystosoma, that is blood fluke, it is found in the blood. These are two examples cited over here. Then the third one is Cystoda, that mainly includes the tapeworms. They are endoparasites found in the intestine of the host, and their body will be divided into so many segments, which are also called as proglottids, which are elongated and ribbon-like. And their anterior end is actually marked by the presence of head. The hooks and suckers are present in them. Digestive system is absent in these animals, and each mature proglottid will be monoecious. Both male and female reproductive structures will be present in them, and the life cycle may have one or two host. And the example is Taenia, Solium, Echinococcus granulosus. You can see this long Taenia solium, its body gets divided into immature, mature, and gravid proglottids. So it is well known endoparasite.